Hello everyone, X-Forts here, and welcome to JoJolion Chapter 59 review. This is going to be the first JoJolion chapter that we're going to do on this channel, and I plan to do one every single month that a JoJolion chapter comes out. So here we are on 59. To recap the last chapter, we got a lot of Kato Higashikata, the mother of the Higashikata family. We saw some of her stand ability, and pretty much that was all it was. Pretty much just her just showing up at the house. Norisuke did not like that at all. So yeah, last chapter was pretty much, we got some inner monologue with Josuke, and him sort of some revelations that he had, and also some Kato Higashikata stuff, and I really think we're at about the halfway point with JoJolion here, with, you know, the Vitamin C arc finishing up, and everyone's pretty much come to the conclusion that Damo was the last of the rock humans, or at least that group of the rock humans that were running the, you know, Rokakaka trade in Japan and in Morioh. So I'm just going to go through the chapter, explain everything, and just give my opinion on everything, and that's going to be the review. So yeah, I decided to go the industry standard in manga reviewing and just do a facecam video. I mean, I don't mind doing a facecam video, it's just not my preferred way to do it, but I mean, I guess this is what we do for manga reviews. So to get into it, we have JoJolion Chapter 59 entitled The Man Who Lives by the Pond, and to start off on the chapter cover page, we have Josuke. Looks like he's like exploring behind the Higashikata family, sort of by the walleyes down by the water. He's just jumping around, he's doing a pretty cool pose, so let's get into the chapter now. So the first panel we have is a double page spread of just pure artwork. There's no dialogue on this page except for some narration. So it really just shows kind of the scenery of the Higashikata family and around it back behind the garden of the walleyes. Because that's really where we're going to be focusing on, where we're going to be looking for the Rokakaka branch. So just giving some scenery and it's great. And then we have some narration that says what he stares off at. So moving on to the next panel, we see Josuke look back and we see where he actually was. He was in the living room in the Higashikata family, and it seems like a really normal day. Everyone in the family is hanging out. We see Hato back to back with Jashu, him staying next to Daya, and Norisuke with Nijimura made up there. We got the whole crew here. Everyone's here, and it seems to be in the morning as well. So Josuke decides to ask Norisuke that he wants to learn how to ride a motorcycle, which was like really random, and that's actually not what he wants. So we get on, and also I love how Araki plugs Lucky Land, the logo for it, the little Jotaro hand. It's on the back, like, you know how like TV shows will put like a pear or something on the back of it so they don't get like copyright by Apple. And of course, Araki puts his Lucky Land logo. It's pretty badass, actually. So when Josuke is holding the iPad, he tells Norisuke, I don't actually want to learn how to ride the motorcycle. I want you to look at this footage. And it was some security footage from the night before. And I love how Norisuke is already ready to go. Like, he's already staying on the motorcycle. Somehow he already got his helmet on with the goggles on the helmet. He's like, all right, Josuke, let's fucking go. So they're actually not going to ride the motorcycle. And he just wants him to look at the security footage. So he's like, oh, I held myself to the security footage, looking back behind at the garden. This next panel is interesting because either Norisuke is really mad that he's not going to teach Josuke how to ride a motorcycle, or he knows what Josuke has discovered, and he's kind of angry at him for that sense. But in the next couple panels, that's kind of disregarded. So, I don't know, he just looks like he's angry, but I guess it's because he wanted to teach him how to ride a motorcycle, and not that he's worried that Josuke is going to figure something out. But he says, I'm going to replay the footage and just look closely. I guess Norisuke's old, his eyes don't work very well, so he's not really able to see the footage. So Josuke actually has to zoom in on it. He's like, right there, you don't see this? Like, right there. I'm sure Josuke is more familiar with the footage because he's been analyzing it. And you see a blacked out figure down at the bottom, and it almost looks like a rock person when we were fighting the Aphex brothers, when we got a little description about the rock people. It almost looks like a rock human while they're sleeping, but that's just the way it was drawn and shadowed out. But obviously in the next panel, it's revealed that it is Jobin, and obviously Norisuke can't tell that it's Jobin yet because it's still blacked out. Josuke hasn't turned up the brightness yet, and Norisuke is like freaking out, like, hey, there's someone outside my house, like, stalking it. So, and then in the next panel, Norisuke gets into like this inner monologue, and he's thinking about like, who could have this been stalking, and he's like, no, it can't be any of the rock humans. And behind him you see all the villains and Damo, and he's thinking that Damo had to have been the last of them. Like, Damo was the last resort for the rock humans, at least this part of the rock human association that was running the trade in Morioh. So he sees all of them and he's like, no, it can't be a rock person, it has to be someone else. Damo was the boss, and he is confident on that Damo was the boss. So then Josuke is like, all right, let me turn up the brightness, and let's see who it is. So he turns up the brightness, and he says, don't worry, it's not a rock human. It's actually Jobin. And Jobin has, like, this really menacing look on his face, even though this doesn't make sense, because it's his house, it's his garden, not his house, essentially. But he can go in there. Like, he doesn't need to be hiding out stalking. Like, he can walk into the house whenever he wants. It's his family, and he's always welcome there. So it's kind of weird that Jobin was there at 4 a.m., unless he's looking for the Rokakaka branch, of course. But he's like staring upwards towards the house. But that had to have been what he's doing. He's there either just like maybe investigating the family, seeing who's. No one would be up at like 4 a.m. In the Higashikata family, except for Joshu doing some dumb shit. But probably jerking off. So yeah, Jobin, he has to be out there looking for the Rokaka branch. Like really, only explanation. And Norisuke gets like really defensive about this. But you see one panel where he's kind of like shocked, like, oh, what is Jobin doing out there? But then he's like, no. Why are you investigating my son? He's in his family garden. There's nothing going on here. It's just him. And you can almost get the sense that Norisuke knows in the back of his head that, yeah, Jobin is a little suspicious, but it's his house, it's our house, and he's just in the garden. There's nothing to be worried about here. And I mean, it makes sense for Josuke to be suspicious because Jobin knows about the Rokakaka branch, and why else would he be out there in 4 a.m., like, obviously looking for it, and he doesn't want the family to know that he's looking for it. So it makes sense, and it's just hard for Norisuke to accept this fact that his son Jobin could be working against the family. And Jobin really is just being the complete double agent so far in JoJolion here, working for the Rock Humans and also pretending. He does care for the Higashikata family, but, he's working both sides. So then after Norisuke says, why would you jump to those conclusions? Josuke says, the Rokaka branch is out there, and I'm gonna find it. And he explains to Norisuke how he needs it to perform the equivalent exchange on Hali-san, who's suffering from a very serious illness. And he also even mentions, he's like, Norisuke, I'm telling you this because I respect you. I'm gonna find it, and I have to perform this equivalent exchange. You can help me if you want. He doesn't really say that, but he kind of knows what he's saying. Like, he'll take help, but if he has to do it by himself, he totally will. So then after he says that, Josuke turns his back to him and starts walking away. And then Norisuke says, all right, Josuke, come back. And he explains to him that he has someone that can help him, and it's a plant appraisaler. And he explains that this person, more than anybody else, will be able to find the Rokakaka branch. And that's the person that Josuke needs to find. So this kind of sets up the next arc that I think we're going to get into in the next chapter, is Josuke on his way, because we see a little bit at the end of the chapter too, but Josuke on his way to find this plant appraisaler, to bring him back to the Walleyes, I assume, and help him look for this Rokakaka branch. So I definitely think that the plant appraisaler is going to be a either main villain or he's going to join the ally forces, because you can tell he has a very well thought out design. And I can just, it definitely looks like a JoJo character, either a main villain or a main ally. But this character, I'm sure we'll find more about him in the coming chapters, but he is either going to be a villain or an ally. But I assume because Norisuke already knows this person, he's going to become an ally. And that's interesting to see that we have someone that's going to be joining the Higashikata family in this whole ordeal. And then in the next panel, you see Norisuke suspicious of Jobin come through, and he says, like, Josuke, don't tell Jobin about this. I'm starting to even have some suspicions of my own son, he says. And it's like, finally, Norisuke, you admit it. Josuke is... Josuke. And in the next chapter, you actually see Norisuke express that he is suspicious of Jobin. And it's like, finally, Jobin is suspicious as fuck. Like, not to you guys, but to us, the readers who have been able to see Jobin. Like, we know Jobin's in with the Rock Humans. And, he's stressed out when Damio died. He was so stressed, sitting in his Lamborghini. He's like, all right, fuck it. Fuck, man, they all died. So it's finally great to see Norisuke actually show his true emotions and reveal that he's actually a little bit suspicious. The exact quote is, I still have some misgivings about my eldest son's actions, but ... the branch definitely belongs to you, Josuke. And that's a great fucking line. He's like, Josuke's like, this, I need to find this, I need to use it for a good cause, because I need to grow a Rokakaka and perform an equivalent exchange on Hali-san for her well-being. And he's like, Josuke, this is, okay. We're going to find this for you. This is your branch. This is yours. Don't tell Jobin. Don't let anyone find out. And Norisuke's interactions with Josuke are the fucking best. From the first one we got when Josuke was like, Norisuke, I'm very suspicious of you. Like, Norisuke and Josuke are grade A interactions. I always like seeing them together on screen. So then we see their interaction come to an end, and Norisuke hands Josuke the phone, which has a GPS that is going to lead Josuke to the plant appraisaler. And then the next panel, we see Kato Higashikata in a hammock, still at the Higashikata house. And when Norisuke walks past her, he says, hey, what the fuck are you doing in my garden? And he just wants her to get out, because she really is, like they're divorced. It's Norisuke's house. She's just being a bitch, won't leave. When he goes up to her, she's like, this is half of my house. Like, I don't know. It's probably not half her house. I don't know the logistics of all their, financial issues or anything like that. But she claims like, oh, I want to see my children. This is half my house, which that part I could get, even though she hasn't really seen any of her children in like 15 years. But whatever. It makes sense for her to be there. I don't mind Kato as a character. She seems pretty cool. She has a pretty cool stand too. So I let Kato hang out, man. I don't really care. She's thick. In the next panel, actually a couple panels coming up. So All right, we'll get to the thickness. Don't worry. Hold on. So Norisuke kind of gets in her face, and he's like, "All right, you need to get the fuck out of here." And then he did one of these, and then once Norisuke walks away, and Kato picks up her phone actually, and it's revealed that she's on the phone with Jobin, and she's like, "All right, I know Norisuke. I was married to this dude. I had children with him. I know Norisuke better than even he does, because she mentioned that Norisuke, when he lies, he does one of these, like he like kind of fiddles with like his chin, or like the like the hairs on his chin." And she's like, "I don't even think he knows that he does that when he lies, but she does." So she does know him pretty well, and she came to the conclusion that when she was talking to Josuke, that Norisuke gave Josuke the phone to go meet someone, and she actually guessed it right. And this is the panel right there. Kato is looking good for over 50 years old. Damn. So, yeah, she comes to the conclusion. She lets Jobin know what's up. And Kato seems like a really smart character, too. And she's kind of like in the middle ground. Like, she's not quite fully on Jobin's side. She might be. I don't know. But I really like she's really for the children as well. She doesn't, like, hate Joshua. She likes Kato. She likes Hato a lot, too. And also she likes Daya, at least from what we've seen so far. So Kato's going to be an interesting character. She's kind of on the middle ground between like fully on Jobin's side and fully on the Higashikata side. So I can't wait to see where her character goes and what side of the net she falls on, if we're talking Steel Ball Run references. So then we flip over to Jobin in the next panel, and we just see his perspective when he's on the phone with Kato. And he is so fucking stressed still in this Lamborghini. And Wakato's explained all this thing to him. Like, he's still, like, sweating. Every time we see him in that Lamborghini, he's, like, always sweating because he was stressed about Damo being defeated, and now he's stressed out about Josuke getting an upper hand on him, finding out the plant appraisal. I'm sure he doesn't know all the logistics, but he knows that Norisuke and Josuke are plotting, and he doesn't know fully what they're doing, and that angers him quite a bit. And while all this is happening, Jobin's having, like, PTSD, remembering what happened to Damo. Like, there's even, like, a little image right here, and assuming that it's in Jobin's head, of Damo getting his head destroyed, and he's just thinking, like, what the fuck am I going to do, man? All of my rock humans are dead. Every single one. Josuke killed them all. Well, not quite Josuke. Tsurugi's a fucking beast. Tsurugi killed one of them. So, and then we see Jobin get back in his Lamborghini and start driving. And then we see the title of the chapter, The Man Who Lives by the Pond, comes into play. And we see the car driving on the road. And then we see 3 panels of a rock and a frog. And it's, I assume it's just like scenery stuff, but I don't know. This frog is a little suspicious. You can never don't leave anything out of the question when it comes to JoJo. Anything can be a stand ability. So we see this frog on the rock, and then we just see a nice scenery. It doesn't look like there's any walleyes near or anything suspicious like that. So then the next panel, we have Jobin putting on gloves and throwing a bucket of fried chicken all over the place. So yeah, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. So then it's revealed that Jobin is actually there to feed the person who lives by the pond, and he's sort of doing like this kind of like call, the rock human call. It's like roo, 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 roo. So he's calling him that way, and it kind of like sneaks up behind him. And this is interesting because Jobin's there. I assume he comes here to feed this person regularly, I guess. So he had the bucket of fried chicken. He seemed like he was in a routine, and he was just throwing it, calling it, and then it sneaks up behind him, and he sort of gives it one of these like, fuck, like what the fuck is that? So then in the next panel, it actually comes up like behind him to like it doesn't seem like it's threatening. I'd assume it's moving pretty slow because the thing doesn't even have arms or legs. It just has like little nubs. But this thing looks very threatening to Jobin, even though he's there to talk to this rock human, I assume it is, and just like feed it. But when it snuck up behind him, like he's standing here throwing the fried chicken, and he gives fuck, like he does one of those, like that thing fucking scared the shit out of me. Like, don't fucking touch me. So maybe this guy could be very dangerous. And also the frog that I mentioned. The frog comes back into play, and it's like right in front of him. So like animals usually don't like being too close to people. The frog is literally right in front of him. So standability, I don't know, maybe standability, or it's just a regular ass frog. So now we see it's kind of like emerging from the ground. It's like coming out of the ground, and we see Jobin like just look down at the thing, like he doesn't really. He's still scared. So, and then the next panel, it kind of clears everything up, and he's just like, hey, did you just wake up? Here, have this fried chicken. So I don't know, that was weird. Like Jobin was really scared of it, and they had like this eye-to-eye contact lock, and then he was just like, hey, what's up? Fried chicken? Yeah, I brought some chicken for you. So then he gives him the chicken, and he says, I'm also here to ask you a favor. And then this is where it is confirmed that this rock human, without arms or legs, is older than all of the previous ones, and he's also in connections with them. And this can mean a couple things. So this rock human specifically, obviously, I think it's out of commission. I don't think it fights or anything. I think it's sort of like like more like a wiser Rockman that people would go to like and ask questions, or just like someone who is done with his fighting days. Because Jobin says, looks like they couldn't live as long as you. Or this is implied when rock humans get older, they sort of, their bodies start to deteriorate. Because this guy looks fucked up. Like he has no arms or legs, and he just looks like he's just existing. Like he's not really living life. He's just existing by this pond. And Jobin says, I have to ask you a favor, like all the others have done. And I think this is that he's going to get connections from this rock human to bring in the next batch of villains into the series. We've seen this before in part 5, when you get done with one batch of villains and then a new group of villains come in. I don't know if this is going to be more people involved in the Rokaka trade that are going to come in, people from all over different people from other places of the world that deal with the Rokaka, because the group that we just defeated was the Morioh group, the people that dealt with the trade in Japan. So it's going to be interesting to see what kind of people that if they bring in. This is all going on the assumption that Jobin's here to ask this guy to bring in more people to try to defeat Josuke. Because I don't think Jobin alone with his stand could even stand a chance against Josuke and also the rest of the Higashikata family. I don't think he would want to either. I think he wants other people to fight the Higashikata family, or not really even the family, just Josuke. So it could be an issue if like he had to end up fighting Tsurugi or something like that, his own son. So I don't want to theorize anymore. We're going to have to see where that thread goes and who this person is. That's probably the most interesting part of the chapter. Who is this rock human? We see another rock human here. So, and then we switch to the next scene, which is Josuke on his way to find the plant appraiser. He's just like walking around. He's following the GPS that Norisuke gave him. And this is where it gets interesting. A child dressed in a baseball uniform comes up to Josuke. He says, hey, bro, are you Higashikata Josuke? Here. Like, I assume that's how he talks. He gives him like a little letter. Josuke puts the phone in his pocket, looks at the letter. He says, here, I'm supposed to give this to you. Josuke picks up the letter, and it has the honorific Sama on it. It says, Higashikata Josuke Samo. So this is someone that looks up to Josuke, or thinks of him on a godly level. And Josuke is really confused by this. He gives it a little glance like, what the fuck? So he grabs it from the kid, and the kid shouts something. I don't know if it's just him yelling to signal something to someone around him, or just to reassure himself, and he says, okay, they're delivered. Which is strange, because he only delivered one letter as well, and he said there as in multiple. So, whatever, Josuke has the letter, and he says, hey, hold on, what is this? Who's this letter from? Like, oh, I got fucking mail, someone knows who I am, because Josuke doesn't have many interactions with people, because no one knows who the fuck he is. So, I mean, he's excited to get mail, and he wants to ask the kid questions, and the kid's like, oh, I was just told to drop this off to you by the man that's around the corner. And then he says, like, all right, so bye. And then I think, obviously, probably, we're going to see a stand battle coming up. Next chapter is going to have a stand battle in it. And Josuke says, a man, question mark. And then he says, somebody that knew me? Like, Josuke, this kid doesn't know. This kid doesn't have the answers, man. Don't ask the kid. Idiot. So the kid, no way the kid would know if the man knew Josuke, so I don't know why Josuke would even ask that. So then Josuke begins to open up the letter, and he sees a little marking on the bottom left of it, and he says, something's inside. And then it's revealed to be a tooth, or what looks like to be a removed tooth inside the letter, or the envelope. And Josuke immediately, he's done fucking with it. He's not going to fuck with it anymore. I'm pretty sure, he throws it on the ground, and he says, oh! He says that's no letter, even though he hasn't even looked to see if there's a letter inside. He just assumes that he doesn't even call it a teeth, or he doesn't even call it a tooth, even though we could clearly see it's a tooth. He just said it looked like something was inside. And then he looks back and he says, somebody that knew me. And then this is no more text on the page. All we see is the kid walking away, and then Josuke makes eye contact with him, and the kid looks back. And he looks back at Josuke again. They stare at each other for a while. The kid's walking away at the point. And the kid starts turning back. And like really slowly, just like he's like doing one of these, and he just starts walking back to Josuke. Confusing stuff. Not much to theorize here, because we're going to find out soon in the next chapter. So, I mean, we can't sit here and speculate when we're going to get answers next chapter. But we're on hiatus right now. Hopefully we get off hiatus soon, either December or January. One of these months, more JoJolion is going to be coming. But theories. There's going to be a stand battle. Either this child or the man who gave him the letter is going to be a stand user, and there's going to be a stand battle next chapter. Almost guaranteed. We didn't have a stand battle last chapter. It was all with Kato, and we didn't have a stand battle this chapter either. So next chapter, we're going to get a new stand and a new stand user, and hopefully like Hato stand and Kato stand get names. I'd love to see what those names are. And people theorizing Emporio, alternate universe Emporio. Maybe. We'll have to see. I have no idea. I mean, we've already had one Part 6 reference, how Kato was in Stone Ocean, the Morioh prison, so I don't know, man. We could see some alternate universe Part 6 characters with Emporio here, but we just don't know. So this was the first chapter review of JoJolion. I don't know. I've never done a video this style. I'm just kind of doing it how everyone else does it with my own little, my own style to it, because it's my video. I'm making it. I like to do things differently. But yeah, let me know what you guys thought about this video, and also if you want me to continue to do JoJolion chapter reviews, because I love JoJolion. You guys know I do that. And so yeah, chapter 60 will be coming out soon, and I'm gonna review that. So every month you guys are gonna get a JoJolion chapter now, unless the series goes on hiatus, of course. So thank you guys for watching this video, and let me know what you guys thought. Really different video here, chapter review. I guess I'm a manga reviewer now. I'm the JoJo guy, so whatever. All right, thank you guys for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed. Read some JoJolion. All right, bye.